Story 1. You cannot control what other people do. You can only control what you do. Plan accordingly and do not worry when someone does something other than what you expected. Simply adjust and move along. Story 2. That if nothing changes, nothing changes. The moment I decided to change, my life did a 180-degree turn, and everything is better, or I have better expectations about it. Story 3. That it is short and can be taken from you in an instant. So enjoy it. Spend the extra money on the nicer hotel room. Take the trip you want to take. Enjoy a nice surf and turf dinner occasionally. Once you are gone, and you cannot take anything with you. Story 4. People come and go, and everything in life is temporary. Edit. Guys, I'm only 17 and I honestly only live by this one saying right now. I didn't expect this much support from you. Thank you. Story 5. Time is nonsense. You always hear those folks say, I've been here 25 years. I deserve this. It's what you do with your time. What problems you choose to solve, how you try to solve them, and who you solve them with are all much more important than how much time you spent. Story 6. You get from it what you put into it. But even giving it your all is not a guarantee of anything. Still do it. Especially as most people have resigned themselves anyway, because by giving it all, you do stand a chance. I have also learned that the world is a timeless, eternal, unchanging place. And in the grander scheme of things, we are all pretty insignificant. It might sound cold, but upon reflection, you will see that it is actually liberating. Because when you realize you are going to come and go, you realize what is really worth living for, what is truly worth loving and caring about. I have my own views on religion and the afterlife. Do not we all? Still, hit life with all you have got, because regardless of what is on the other side of this world, this is your one passage through this life as you. Be active and inspired about it. Participate in it. Do not just go through the motions, pay bills for 60 years and then die. Participate in it. This applies to you regardless of what you believe. Because not even the eternal, unchanging, indifferent nature of the universe, the gates of heaven, the flames of hell, or the blackness of an eternal oblivion can ever take that from you if you do. Story 7. Most comes down to luck, and it's very annoying. My father speaks 8 languages fluently, has 2 PhDs, is intelligent, organized, hardworking, and life keeps being unfair to him. I am a failure with chronic depersonalization derealization disorder and depression. Take lots of drugs, am unorganized, foul-mouthed, and have no direction in life. The only good things I have are my wife and dog, but life keeps giving me advantages nonstop. I earn more than my parents both put together and work much less. Then there are 2 guys in Chile who are both climbing guides with nearly identical skills and the same amount of experience working in the same place. The more troubled guy earns $72,000 per year, and the decent one earns $20,000 per year, guiding on the same mountain. Story 8. Most people won't care about your problems or what you've overcome. They only care about whether or not you can perform at the end of the day. If you can't, then you're discarded, so don't count on leniency, and don't invest too much in people or a way of living that demands so much you can't spare the energy to keep yourself afloat. I find it somewhat worrying that most of the rest of the posts I see are as jaded and cynical as my own. Hope you all are doing all right. Story 9. Marry your best friend. And I'm not talking about meeting a girl, courting her, having kids, and then saying she's your best friend just because that's what you're supposed to say. I'm saying if you have a woman in your life who is your best friend, she's the one. The amount of mutual respect you will have for each as its foundation is the best catapult. Plus, your motive isn't sex, as it is for the overwhelming majority of men under 40. An unrelated quote that I can't help but share: happiness is not something that comes to you, rather something you allow. Pete Townsend. Story 10. Life is what you make of it. I'm approaching middle age. Single, no kids, okay job, not many friends left. I see all my other successful friends with families and friends, and I am so envious. I've been trying to figure out what is the point of my life. I tried doing all the things to help find that answer, but it keeps coming back to, there is no answer. The point of living is whatever you make it to be. Currently, I don't have many reasons to keep going. Finding reason has become my reason. If you can get ahead of this and find reasons before it's too late and you are desperately searching, it will make things a lot easier, I think. Story 11. This applies to men and women equally. Nothing in this life is owed to you. The sooner you realize this, the better off you'll be. Unfortunately, too many people all over the world have to struggle much more than those of us in the West. I wish their life was easier. Story 12. Cutting family out of your life is a hard decision and can lead to a lot of judgment, but in the end, it is your life and you decide the type of people you want in it. Story 13. When life sucks, put your head down and work. It doesn't matter what your job is. Hard work solves most problems. And never, ever quit trying to better your life. Story 14. You cannot control if you are the smartest person in the room. You cannot control if you have the most experience in the room. You cannot control if you are the most naturally talented in the room. But you can always be the hardest worker in the room. Story 15. The people who died last night had plans for this morning. Those who died this morning had plans for tonight. Death can come at any moment and by any means. Every day of life is a blessing. Story 16. Be humble. Not sure if it would apply the same to anyone else, but without humility, I can really be a selfish person and need to be put in my place every so often. It is unfortunate, but it's better than being inconsiderate. I just hope I never reach a point where my ego expands beyond that. Story 17. You can never see yourself the way that other people see you, and they can never truly see you the way you see yourself. Don't stress too much about what others think. Most of them never even slow down long enough to recognize what you consider your flaws. Try to be a good human, be considerate of others as much as you can, and try your best to have a positive outlook. I recognize this approach doesn't work for everyone, but it has done wonders for me. Story 18. Focus on and love yourself. I just got out of a super codependent relationship of 2.5 years where I lost everything. I'm so sad that she's gone, but I've been finding so much happiness in the things I've given up for her. I'm not going to do that for another person again. She taught me so much, and that time we had together was amazing. I just really lost who I was in our relationship, and that's not healthy at all. Story 19. When it comes to your career, make them tell you no. Don't write yourself off. Don't assume you don't have what it takes. Apply for jobs beyond your qualifications. Work towards goals that seem out of your reach. Don't assume you won't make the cut anyway. Not with that attitude. Make them say no before you quit trying. Not good advice for your romantic life, though. Story 20. You should not just trust people know what they are talking about, even if they are talking about their own feelings and perspectives. Respect them enough to allow them their feelings, but never ever just trust what they say to be true or reflective of reality. Consider it a point of reference, not as fact. Story 21. For me, there are 10, so I will just list them. You don't have all the time in the world. Get things done now rather than later. Do what makes you happy. It's your life, and you're the one who has to live with the life you have built. Always be humble. Today, you're at the top, but you don't know where you will be tomorrow. Never assume. If you have a question or don't know something, ask. If someone wants to be with you, they will show it. Don't force people to be with you. They will eventually leave. Trust your gut. If something feels off or odd, there's a reason. People's opinions don't matter unless you make them matter. Be respectful to everyone you meet. Life takes many turns, and you don't know who you will see again. Dress well and look well. The saying, if you look good, you'll feel good, is really true. 10. Travel, travel, and travel. There's so much to see out there. You will be amazed at how much you're missing out on when you realize there's a whole world outside of your bubble. Story 22. I am naturally drawn to negativity and pessimism. I used to disguise it as being realistic. It has caused a lot of grief and struggle in my life due to not moderating these emotions. After a major life change, I have come to realize that there is no value in these emotions, and I am working hard to reassess everything in my life to become better. Story 23. Be humble. Pride and bravado aren't things that, when the pros and cons are weighed against each other, will result in the cons winning out every time. Too many times have I watched others get themselves way in over their heads, including myself, in situations by not remembering this lesson. Humility really is an important virtue. Story 24. Nobody gives a darn. To me, that is not a bad thing. People get all hung up about what other people think of them. Most people don't even think of you. They have to worry about their own lives and their immediate family. The last thing on their mind is what kind of car you drive, if your business failed, the color of your hair, what club you belong to, how much money you make, or something silly you said one time. They don't care. Story 25. Sometime in my 30s, I realized that a large majority of people, including professionals, have no idea what they are doing. They are just doing what someone else told them to do, or they do not care and do whatever is easiest. If it is important to you, do not take anyone's word for it. Figure it out for yourself. Story 26. It taught me one thing, that I know nothing. Nobody knows anything. Everything can change in an instant, so don't get attached to anything or anyone too much. Just go with the flow and appreciate what you have now, because taking anything for granted can hurt you badly. Story 27. Human resources is there to protect the company, not the employee. If an employee submits a sexual harassment complaint and human resources finds the complaint is truthful and has merit, human resources does not act in the employee's best interest. It always acts in the company's best interest. Sometimes that means firing the employee who was harassed. It absolutely happens, and until you see it, I understand that it's hard to believe. Human resources is not your friend. Story 28. Less is more. Less is always more, especially when talking. When you encounter loudmouths, aggressive people, or people who just want to hear their own voice in the conversation or argument, just let them go. Let them run out of energy, then just nod and say, I understand, and then do whatever you were going to do or were thinking anyway. If you want to change someone's mind, lead by example. The truth isn't told, it's realized. Story 29. The aftermath of abuse is still abuse. The screaming, the bullying, the manipulation is all abuse, yes. But so is the I was just looking out for you, the I do it because I love you, and even the it won't happen again. Story 30. That I might not necessarily be built for marriage and kids as a person, and I am okay with that. I'm 40 years old now, and I am still very happy with my life. I might not personally have kids, but I do have countless nephews and nieces that I see regularly, two of whom sort of view me as a father figure after their dad left. That is enough for me. Story 31. Life is what you make of it. It all depends on you. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. The valiant taste death but once. Life goes as fast or as slow as you want it to. All we have is right now. The best things in life lie behind a leap of faith. Every day on earth is someone's last. Problems seem so small in comparison to that. Diversify your assets into investments that have a stable and strong rate of return. Story 32. Jesus, these are all depressing. For me, if you keep hope, you may not come out on top, but you can live a noble existence until the day you die. And in this life, that is quite an achievement. Story 33. It may be hard as a young person, but I think the biggest lesson I've learned in my 50 years is that it is most important when young and starting out to live the way you want to. Do not try to please a mother or father in terms of where you live or what profession you decide upon. These will shape your life in a way that, as you grow, may become more and more constrictive to the real you. Worst of all, you may realize it when it's nearly impossible to make changes. And there you are, pretty much stuck. Sum it up this way. Be sure to live in such a way that you minimize regret in your future days. Peace, everyone. Story 34. You are the only one responsible for your own happiness. Another way to say it is, don't allow all of your happiness to depend on somebody else. If you are not happy alone, you are not going to be happy in a relationship. Story 35. Everything in life, wealth, friends, and materials, flows through like water, comes and goes. Enjoy it while it's there. Don't panic when it leaves. More is on the way. Story 36. That we are living in the good old days right now. And I'm not talking about in a pre-apocalypse kind of way. What I mean is that too often we are not paying attention to the day we are living in, but we are focused on the future or the past and we miss where we are. Story 37. Death is final. Old people in your life will die. Building, mending, and keeping up with those relationships has a time limit. Cherish those people today. Story 38. Don't care about what others think about you. You will never see these people again. Take your chances and never fear anyone. Be confident. Story 39. Family is everything. Friends come and go. The sooner you quit drinking, the better for you and everyone around you. I've wasted a fortune on drinking. Story 40. I can tell you, original poster, this Reddit post told me that there are a lot of negative emotions responding. Here is some advice for most, remember most, not all, posted comments. At the end of your last sentence, remove the period in place, but I don't give a fuck. You can change but for end. Needless to say, that's your call. Enjoy emotions because I don't give a fuck. Story 41. If the answer to the question can be incompetence, it always is the answer. People aren't plotting against you. They aren't even thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves while they mess up so badly you think they are out to get you. Story 42. Choose your battles wisely. Sometimes when you win, you have actually lost and vice versa. When you really dig your heels in on a position and stand your ground, make sure you are doing it for the right reasons and have considered the consequences of doing so. This question also makes me think of this quote from Vonnegut. We are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be.